If you're over 50 and wondering if now is the best time to start an exercise routine, the answer is you should have started years ago. But yes, start now. Now is the best time. And I'm going to walk you through step by step why now is the best time to start an exercise routine and what you need to be doing to accomplish that safely and effectively. We're going to cover all sorts of things like, am I too old? Am I too injured? Am I too sore? Am I too tired? How do I recover properly? What types of exercises are best? By the end of this video, you're going to know how to safely and effectively implement an exercise routine into your 50s and well beyond. That's going to keep you strong, safe, and healthy for years to come. My name's Ian. I'm a personal trainer and massage therapist that's been working with people over the age of 50 for almost a decade, helping them get stronger, build more muscle, and lose body fat. Let's get into some of the main concerns or myths that come up when people think about exercising into the later years. People will talk about how it's more difficult to grow muscle into your 50s and beyond. And that is sort of true. The truth is, we can grow muscle at any age. And as long as we're able to eat food, get enough protein, get enough rest and recovery, we will be able to add muscle. Proportionally, it does become a little bit more difficult the older we get. So that's why the sooner that you can start to add muscle, the better. But what really ends up happening is that as people age, they don't lose the ability to add muscle. They just stop moving and exercising, and that correlates with muscle loss. Another concern that comes up is lifting weights is dangerous for older adults. Life is dangerous. You got to get over it. It's dangerous when you're young. It's dangerous when you're old. What is dangerous is if you don't have the capacity to do something, your risk for injury is higher. That means if you pick up a weight that's too heavy or do something incorrectly, you're likely to hurt yourself. But because you've been inactive for a long time, that injury could be more severe. So again, this has nothing to do with being older. It has to do with maybe being a little bit detrained or deconditioned. Another thing people are concerned with is that it's too late to make progress. And that's just a ridiculous thing. Is there any other aspect of your life that you would not think you can make progress in if you put significant effort towards it? So think about it this way. If you're about to learn any type of new skill, if you put effort into it, you will get better at that thing. And lifting weights and adding muscle and building strength is no different. At any age, you can make improvements and continue to make improvements for the rest of your life. Why is it the right time to start lifting weights? And what are the main benefits? I will argue, as someone who has worked with both people in their teens and 20s, all the way up to their 80s and 90s, that the people that get the biggest benefit from lifting weights are those over the age of 50. And the reason is quite simple. When you're younger, you have the benefit of youth in that you're starting with more muscle mass, things are more forgiving, and you have basically more time. The older you get, you have this accumulation of a sedentary lifestyle that has been building and building. Now you are in your 50s, 60s, and 70s reaping the rewards or suffering from your choices, meaning you're either active and have a healthy body, or you are not going to have been active and now suffering from a body that maybe has less muscle than you should have, less strength than you should have. And that's starting to affect your quality of life. Lifting weights and building muscle will increase muscle mass in terms of actual size and your strength. So the ability to lift stuff, move about, move your body around. It will also help with improving bone density. And I've seen this across the board that those who may have osteoporosis or osteopenic, or maybe you are a woman who's approaching the age of menopause or just going through menopause. And even for men, although it's a more gradual decline, we all want to be concerned about our bone density as we get older because lower bone density puts increased risk for fractures, increased fall risk, and lifting weights and regularly training will improve all of these things. Also, we're going to get better balance, coordination, posture. Lifting strength is a skill. Moving your body is a skill. The more you move and resist external forces, even if it's just your body weight, the better you get at that skill, which means that you're going to be able to move around in your environment more easily Everyone talks about walking like it's a big deal. Walking is what people do. It gets you from point A to point B. If you can't walk, you are not living life as a human. And unfortunately, in our society, what we do is we tend to make things easier as we get older. Stairs, they make us tired, and we don't want to be tired. We don't want to use energy. So, you know what we should do when we get older? Let's make life easier. Let's only walk on flat surfaces, take minimal stairs, and continue to decrease our activity and thus decrease our muscle mass and speed up aging. That's a stupid idea. That's a terrible idea. We should never do that. We never want to make things more simple in life because it always has a consequence. If things are easier, that means we're not working something or challenging a certain system the way we should be. I want you to think about, you have a body that you need to regularly train in order to be able to get the most out of life. You don't want to be one of those people who they start walking upright and then they start to hunch over more and more, and they can't look up, they can't step over things. They're a massive fall risk. And forget about fractures. It's just a terrible way to live your life. Some of the things that people don't talk about are the confidence that comes with lifting weights, knowing that you're strong, that you're prepared for whatever life throws at you. Whether you have to run quickly to avoid something or catch something, maybe you have to jump out of the way. Maybe you just have to be able to carry stuff. Maybe you like the idea that people can depend on you to help them, whether it's to move something or just to go on long hikes with them, or be able to, carry groceries, be able to just assist them if they need help going up and down stairs. It feels good to be able to help other people and know that you're confident enough in your body to do so. We know that fitter people live longer, and fitter is multifaceted. It doesn't just mean muscle and strength, but it's part of that equation. I like to think more about quality of life than quantity of life. I hope everyone here gets to live to 100 and beyond. Maybe AI will save us all and we'll all live to be 120 or something like that. But the way I think about it is more about quality of life. What do we do with the years that we have here? Because once we're dead and gone, we're dead and gone. But if you live to be 90, but the last 20 years you spend that last 20 years in a bed not being able to move, that doesn't sound like fun to me. I want everyone to enjoy every single day that they're here until the last day. That means being able to move and do whatever they like to do, not feeling limited by their body. And that really only comes from challenging your muscles and staying strong throughout all of life. If you look better, you feel better. If you look better, you feel more attractive. And that is a big thing that I think a lot of people start to lose sight of, especially the older that we get. If you enjoy your body more, you feel confident, you'll feel more handsome or beautiful, or you will feel more sexy. And that is something that's really important, because people should be able to have confidence in themselves and their relationships and still have intimacy into their later years. If you don't have a body that can support not just the physical, but the emotional side of that, that's a real shame, and you're really missing out on a big aspect that life has to offer us all. All right, so let's start with the very basics. The first thing that you are going to need to start to exercise, and it's not what you think. You need something in your schedule. That's the most important thing, because the most important factor of exercise is consistency. Consistency, number one, and intensity, number two. If you have both of those things, given a long enough time horizon, you will get to where you want to go. And if you're watching this video and you're starting to lift right now into your 50s or beyond, that means that you're not trying to be a competitive athlete or some sort of bodybuilder, and you may be interested in those things later on and get into them. You have time, and what you need to do is slowly build confidence in yourself. You need to be consistent. You cannot start and stop. Find a spot in your schedule where you can regularly work out. Start with 2 to 3 days a week and carve out a 30-minute slot. Consistency is the most important thing. Put it in your schedule the same way you would a doctor's appointment or work at a certain time. It goes in your schedule. You treat it more important than those other things, because this is for your health and wellness. And if you don't have health and wellness, you can't go to work. You can't be there for your children. You can't be there for your employer. You can't be there for your friends. You need to be there for yourself first. Don't put yourself last until a health problem arises and you're forced to put yourself first. You're going to check your ego at the door. You're just starting here. Now, this may not be a concern for a lot of people. You may be reasonable and think, hey, I haven't lifted in a while. Let me ease into it. Other people, especially in today's society, want to rush in and get it all done, get all the results right away. Unfortunately, with exercise, that doesn't happen. We have to consistently exercise, wait, get a result such as more muscle, more strength, other health improvements, and then do it again and again in perpetuity until our last day. So you have to adopt that mindset that this is a lifestyle. This is not something that you can just do for today or for this week or for this month and have the benefits and carry those forward. Unfortunately, it doesn't work like that. After you have this schedule and this mindset that, okay, I'm going to start slow, then you just need to go through some basic movements. And these are movements as simple as some sort of squat pattern, some sort of hip hinge pattern, so bending at the waist, maybe some sort of lunge pattern, and then a push and pull pattern with your upper body. So something like a push-up, a chest press, an overhead press, and some sort of pull. So you're thinking like maybe a pull-up. Pull-ups may be too difficult for you. So maybe we're talking about some sort of pull down at the gym. Maybe we're talking about some sort of, excuse me, horizontal pull or a row. So these are all the things that you're going to need to get started, and that's it. And you could literally just do something like that for years and progressing those step by step along the way, you will achieve great things. The basics get you a long way as long as you are consistent and you have the right intensity. And we will touch on intensity in a little bit. So in terms of progression, you just have to think about whatever you do today, because you're going to start today with something, because you're watching this video and you're motivated now. And motivation doesn't stick around. That's why you have to have something scheduled. You're going to do a little workout today. Remember, you just want to do a little bit more each session. Now, how much more is really going to depend on your comfort level, your skill level, your proficiency with these exercises. But remember, this is a big picture video. All you have to do is continue to progress. So let's say you start with 5 squats today, and then your next workout, you do 6. The one after that, you try and do 7. Or maybe you increase the resistance a little bit. So it's all about moving the needle in the right direction. Now let's talk about safety, an area that I think is worthy of consideration, but a lot of people, especially those over the age of 50, think about too much. It's perfectly reasonable to think about safety at any age, especially when you're older, because injuries can be harder to recover from. And when you're injured, that's time that you can't be training and time that you can't be enjoying what you want to do. It doesn't matter what age you are. What matters is what condition you're in and what you are able to do. For example, I've met very sedentary people who are in their 20s and they've never played sports, and they are way more messed up than someone in their 50s who's been exercising their whole life. So if you have a certain injury history, a nagging shoulder or a sore knee or something like that, you just want to pay attention to these things. But if you are exercising with correct form and correct levels of progression with good weights, the risk of getting injured from lifting weights is very low, way lower than most people realize. If you were to rank lifting weights in a gym done with good technique, so that'll include the right intensity, the right weights, the risk of injury is very minimal, especially when you compare it to sports. So sports like soccer, football, basketball, hockey, tennis, these all have higher injury rates. Running have higher injury rates than lifting weights. The difference is no one really thinks about it that way. They just thought, oh, that's part of the sport. You have to think about the risk of doing nothing. Heart disease, diabetes, increased risk of cancer, increased fall risk, osteoporosis, sarcopenia, which is the loss of muscle due to aging. Just a terrible quality of life. If you put that on one side of the equation, and on the other side, you have this minimal risk that comes from lifting weights. Lifting weights wins 10 out of 10 times. While it is okay to have this concern, It is a very minimal concern, especially if you are doing this safely and properly. And it's way safer than not doing anything at all. A lot of people who start lifting weights for the first time are understandably intimidated. They may have no experience in a gym, or they may walk into a gym and see a bunch of people in there who are fitter than they are. And it's very understandable that that place may be uncomfortable for you. You may not even want to be there. You may feel like you don't fit in. And while these are all perfectly reasonable feelings to have, you have every right to be there. Everyone who goes to a gym to exercise is just trying to be a better version of himself, just like you. Typically, the people you will see in a gym are the ones who have stuck with it. So you're walking in on your day one and you're seeing someone else's day 1000 and you're comparing yourself to them. But you also don't know that at one point they were just like you. They walked into a gym not knowing what they're doing, feeling intimidated, feeling scared. The only difference is that they stuck with it. As discouraging as it may feel sometimes on your day one, just know that most people there are very supportive. They're happy to see you there, encouraging, and willing to help out if you ask. And I've found that the gym is one of the most friendly, inviting places, just filled with a bunch of people who are trying to get better and improve themselves. Now, let's talk about intensity of exercise. Intensity of exercise is something that most people get wrong, and they get wrong at different times. I've met typically two types of people. The first type of person will come in and they want to go 100% right away. They're going to lift everything as hard as they could, as heavy as they can. They're going to do as much as humanly possible. And that person will typically hit a wall of fatigue that will slow down their progress. But there's the opposite type of person, which can be equally troubling, which is the person will come in and as soon as they start to use the least bit of effort, as soon as the muscles start to burn a little bit, as soon as their heart rate elevates a little bit or they start breathing heavy, they instantly think that they're going to injure themselves or that they're working too hard or that something is wrong. And this is typically a type of person who has never played sports before, who has never really exercised hard before. And so they're experiencing all these sensations for the first time, and it can be quite alarming for them. And someone like myself who has been exercising my whole life can take these for granted at how uncomfortable it can be to experiencing these things for the first time and not know what they mean. So both people just need to take a different approach, which is you just need to ease in gradually and you need to think about just doing more than you did the previous session. And so what I recommend for everyone when they begin is you want to do the easiest workout possible and just get a check mark down for showing up and working out. So what that means is you're going to schedule your workout. You are going to have a list of exercises with a target, maybe number of repetitions for each one, and maybe a target weight. And you're going to go in there, and those are all going to be easy targets. And you just want to be able to say, yep, I did it. I did it. Gain a little bit of confidence with that. Carry it into the next session and do the same thing again. Just increase it by a little bit. And the most important thing I would say for the first month of training for most people, especially if they haven't exercised before, for most people, you just want small wins to build on top of small wins. And you get this confident snowball rolling that will allow you to carry that into the next workout, into the next workout. And then after a month, you have a month of showing up for yourself and doing what you said you were going to do at the gym. And that is so powerful. You can then start to increase the intensity because now you have the confidence and it starts to feel a little bit boring. You know that you can do it. And now you want to push a little bit harder and see what your body's capable of. All right. So remember when I said the best time to start a workout is right now? I'm going to give you something you can do to start right now to tick off that little checkbox and say that you have started to do something today and you can call today a win. And all we're going to do here is a version of a squat. If this is too easy for you, that's fantastic. And if it's too hard for you, that's okay too. We can always make things easier. Before you do anything though, please make sure that you are safe and medically cleared to do exercise. Make sure a doctor says it's okay for you. If you have some sort of heart thing going on, if you have a breathing thing going on, if you have a sore knee or shoulder or your feelings hurt, don't do any of this stuff. Make sure that you're ready to exercise before you do exercise, okay? Now, we're just going to talk about a simple squat. So you're going to start standing, and I'm assuming everyone who's watching this is sitting down right now because no one stands or does anything anymore. You are going to slowly squat down. Your bum is just going to touch the chair, not putting your weight on the chair, and then you're just going to come back up. And you're going to do anywhere from 5 to 20 of those. If you want to make it harder, you slow down the lowering and the standing portion. If you want to make it easier, you just do them faster. And this is going to be something that you can do today to kickstart your journey, because we can make this infinitely more complex, or we can make it way easier. I'm going to have videos coming out in the future talking about different type of workouts that you can do both with no equipment and with lots of gym equipment, because I don't assume that people who are in their 50s and beyond are incapable of doing anything. In fact, most of the people I work with end up deadlifting and squatting hundreds and hundreds of pounds. Now, to close things off, are you too old to lift weights? Never. As long as you're living and breathing, you can lift weights. I've worked with people with all sorts of health conditions well into their late 80s who I have gotten stronger. And these are people who they couldn't even eat like good diets because they were restricted because of health conditions. Their sleep was terrible. They had multiple comorbidities or just other things going on that made their life miserable, and they still got stronger. If they can do it, you can do it. Trust me. It is never too old to start lifting. You can make tremendous progress and significantly improve the quality of your life going forward. If you like this video, I appreciate if you just like the video and leave a comment below and let me know what you liked and what you'd like to see next. Thanks.